Let's skip the BS. When I was in college, I went through a really crazy spiritual awakening, like insane, obsessed with mind, body, and soul. Really understood Jesus Christ, consciousness, all that shit. And since then, I have taken it upon myself to heal from the inside out, mind, body, soul, Holy Trinity. If you know, you know. With that being said, I'm completely and utterly fascinated, obsessed with researching fascia. If you know what fascia is, perfect. If you don't, let me dumb it down for you. Fascia is basically your body's inner web that intertwines all of your organ systems. Your nerve endings are literally living all inside of it throughout your entire body, as well as your lymph, okay? Your lymphatic drainage system. Yeah. What's crazy is that your nerve endings live inside of your fascia, stomatically stimulated, okay? So that means like touch, trauma, crazy mother shit, okay? Watching this back, I know this is all over the place, but bear with me, okay? I'm just trying to get awareness out there. Let's change the world. Let me share some of my favorite things that I've researched. Backstory, I grew up Catholic, baptized, communion, all that shit. So crystals and spirituality have always been a big bad no-no. But for some reason, I have always been really drawn to like the chakras and the jewels and the crystals and all that shit. Shout out to my dad. He loves to play devil's advocate and what would Jesus do and how does this align with the Christian values, blah, 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 blah. Basically making me acknowledge what's real, what's fake, and what's science, if that makes sense, okay? I hope you're following. Is kind of what has stemmed all of my research. Prove my father wrong and that spirituality, chakras, rocks, if you will, are not witchy, they're legit. Let's begin. A lot of new research has been done, is coming out, that your emotions, legit organ system is your fascia. Holy hell. You good, bro? So all your trauma, all your energy, all of your emotions are being stored in your fascia, which is 20% of your body weight, 70% water. Follow me. The makeup of fascia is collagen and water, okay? And collagen is a semiconductor, so it literally produces electrons, your aura, okay? So a lot of people in the fascia world like to call fascia liquid crystal because of how manipulated it is by external factors like EMF. I could go on forever about this shit. Another thing that people like to call it is your bio battery. But where I'm going with this is that crystals also relieve off EMFs, the electrical charge, different than ours because ours is manipulated, theirs is grounding. So when you have those in your atmosphere, in your aura, in your charge, it's grounding you and it's bringing your charge to the crystal's charge. Am I making sense to you? I think that's the coolest, most interesting thing. I could go on forever, but I'm gonna skip to another thing I find so interesting. Another thing that's talked about a lot is body armoring, okay? This is when your body's automatic nervous system is in fight or flight, rest and digest, blah, 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 okay? But body armoring is the fight or flight when you're stuck in froze mode. So your shoulders, tense up, you wake up and your jaw's clenched. These are all of your muscles fighting in fight or flight, frozen in time, and your muscles and your body and your fascia is paying the price, holding the trauma that's never been processed or expressed or whatnot. Crazy shit. I'm not gonna get into chakras, but if you know anything about chakras, to look at the similarities between like a blocked throat chakra and like fascia pain in your neck and your jaw, just know that it's like not speaking your truth. It's crazy. It's crazy and it's real, and it's allegedly the bridge between like the physical energy world. Insane. I'm not even gonna say allegedly because it is. I'm gonna trauma dump because I really hope that this reaches the right people and people can just see how passionate I am about this passion project. I hope to change the world. I hope to help people heal, and I just think this is so interesting, but I struggle really bad with PMDD. Not studied a lot at all, which is another reason that I kind of got into this, okay? I've always suffered from a lot of pelvic issues, really susceptible to like any kind of vaginal issue, okay? Like if I have with one guy once, suddenly I have a yeast infection. That's just who I am. Men obviously have fascia too. So after you have intercourse with somebody, that fascia release is the emotion that's stored in that area, depending on if you are in love with them, hate them, have trauma, you are following what I'm putting down. But back to the PMDD. So, hear me out. Luteal phase, before you get your period. Your estrogen drops. Okay? Your progesterone also drops, meaning your fascia, which you want to be hydrated, moisturized, fluid, moving, begins to dry up because there's not a lot of collagen in it anymore, which is mandatory to have healthy fascia and process your emotions and your body movement fluently. So obviously women experience these crazy body aches and cramping before and during their period, which another thing that I needed to investigate. So I did a lot of investigating, and you would not believe the fascia that's intertwined in your uterus. Okay, so now looking at that association with your brain and how you react to things while you're PMSing or while you're PMDD, I'm obsessed. Like, I can't stop researching. Another thing I find so interesting is that if you're chronically depressed, one of the first things they ask you is if you have chronic body aches. Your fascia is slowed, not being moved, not hydrated. You're gonna have body aches because your fascia is not healthy, it's depressed, it's not moving, it's slumped, okay? I think that healing your mind, body, and soul starts with fascia, okay? And if I have to die here preaching about it, I will. I hope to change the lives of many. Another really interesting statistic is that ADHD, autism, very similar. We know this. But do you know what the exact diagnosis is of ADHD and autism? A dysregulated ANS system, which is, your fight or flight, rest and digest, all that shit. Again, the body armoring, which I mentioned earlier, which is when you're frozen in time with your fight or flight, okay? Well, research is showing that connective tissue diseases are so common and prevalent in children, people with the autistic disability. And if you think about it, that makes so much sense, because if your somatic cells are overstimulated, which is your whole feeling sensory system, isn't that what autism is when so if your fascia is tight and not healthy, these sensory issues just become so much more louder, brighter, uncomfortable. And again, this is being seen as the hidden bridge between mind, body, soul health. And I just am so infatuated with getting to the root cause of it. I have not even begun to scratch the surface of all the research I have done, but I'll leave you with this. If you are into the spiritual side of anything, you know that your pineal gland, which is in your brain, which can be calcified because of fluoride or whatever, third eye, legit crystallized, okay? 40 to 70% of adults have their pineal gland calcified, and to know that these things, your pineal gland, which is seeing these auras, the field, your electrical field, the association between that, your fascia, studies are showing, that your fucking fascia can calcify, okay? So if you have a prolonged injury and your fascia is inflamed in that area, that muscle, that ligament, that joint, it is calcifying, becoming rock hard. You can't get rid of it. That's gonna cause more issues and more problems in your body in areas. And I hope you enjoyed. I have a lot more where this came from, so make sure to follow, and subscribe.